Okay, great. So I have the wonderful Michelle Duval on the video with me today. And I guess a great place to start would be a little bit about yourself and how you got into or involved in that future of work in your industry.
Well, I'm a professional coach and I started my first coaching firm in 1997. And since then wrote several books in the field of coaching and began to notice that in the group of the population I was working with, there were a whole lot of themes that was emerging, and it ended up leading to us doing a study of the world's most successful entrepreneurs. And we were looking for the motivations at work, and what we noticed was some really incredible statistical findings, and we noticed that in this new generation of work that people are moving towards needing to be much more innovative, entrepreneurial, and having to behave more like a startup. And it's very much the emergence of the future of work. So that's how we ended up launching our technology platform, which is called Fingerprint for Success. And what's really cool about Fingerprint for Success is in our industry is that we're building our artificial intelligent coaching, and we are disrupting what's been, I guess, the process of what coaching is today. But I don't think about it as disruption. I more think about it as trying to democratize coaching and making it available to the world. So that's what we're doing in our company.
Yeah, so some really wonderful goals there. So you talk about AI and how it's starting to get some, I guess, exponential success in terms of your own platform. Do you think that's one of the key trends or innovations that's happening in the industry of coaching, or are there other ones additional to that?
Yeah, in coaching, people are really fearful of artificial intelligent coaching and thinking that it can't do what human coaching does. And I think it's where we are currently in the world today, that's definitely the case. But yes, that's probably the most innovative thing that's happening in coaching. The other one is taking an evidence-based approach to coaching. So coaching is a methodology which is basically facilitating people to realise their fullest potential. And Australia's actually been leading the way in coaching. We had the very first university degree ever in the world here from Sydney University. And but what we now know is that people are wanting to have evidence that these things work. So they're the two big things which are critical in the future of work. We can't just say something works. So that's where the whole field of neuroscience has been an incredible impact on our field.
Yeah, and I guess that balance between, I guess, that perception of AI and having the flexibility or the agility to match what's necessary for coaching conversations and things is potentially what people are concerned or challenged with mindset-wise at the moment, at the idea that they can't get that personable or connection that they would if it was one-to-one coaching with a human being. Would you say that was right? Or
yeah, so what's incredible though is really effective coaching is being able to pick up patterns, and usually they're linguistic patterns. And so there's many different forms of coaching. And so in terms of performance coaching, text-based coaching that a coaching bot could do and can do and is being developed around the world is that innovation for the future of work. But what's more important for the future of work is that people who are at work in their teams can better harness the team dynamics. And so where we're going with artificial intelligent coaching is that in the places where people do their work, say in Slack or in Messenger or in some of the messaging platforms that people already use at work, we're able to build a coaching bot that can help people to be more productive in those chats.
Wow. And so how has the appetite been so far with your clients regarding the artificial intelligence coaching? Has it been well received or still a little bit of hesitance or a bit of both?
Yeah, well, we're at the early stages. We haven't actually launched what we're doing. So we've got 3 different engines in our platform. And so we haven't actually launched that part of the product just yet. So people are super excited about it though. People are like, wow, how can we use that? So far, our market intelligence tells us that people are really excited about it.
Great. So in terms of roles, and I guess, would you say that a lot of your target market are, you said entrepreneurs, but leaders in their areas of business or within their own organizations? Do you see that this type of innovation is going to really change the way that they lead, the way that they think, the skill sets that are required?
Yeah, one of the things that we know about millennials and all the research shows is that millennials do not want to do work unless it's meaningful and fulfilling to them. And so, as we know, is they will leave their roles unless it's fulfilling for them. And so what we've been doing is we've been measuring people's motivations at work and then helping them to find the ideal job fit between motivation and the role that they have. And so we know that organisations who have their real eye on the future of work are very, very much motivated to utilise tools that help them to, one, help people to have fulfilling and meaningful work. The second one is that they can help people to be more productive and to collaborate more easily together, particularly in the distributive teams that are currently just normal, but will be even more so in the future of work. And importantly, that there is a massive fear in the future of work that the roles and jobs that we all have today, many of them, as you well know, because this is your specialty, will be no longer there. And I always make a distinction between people are not being made redundant, it's just skills and experience that will be made redundant. Yes, and so what we're really motivated to do is to help people to be able to take what are their core motivations and talents, but apply them to the new roles in the future of work. So what we say is the most important thing in the future of work is actually your attitude. And that's what we measure in our platform. So, for example, one of our research findings shows qualitatively from the data that's inside our platform is that when we look at the baby boomer generation, when we look at Gen X generation, and we look at millennials and the others coming through, we can see a marked difference between how much people prefer to collaborate versus have autonomous roles where they work in a silo and they have a very defined role. And we can measure that in our data, in our platform. And we see that millennials and others in the future of work are very much motivated to have more shared responsibility and to collaborate more in decision making than to autonomously make decisions on their own.
Yeah, great. And is it fair to say that either this technology can or will be used also for recruitment? So on the flip side, obviously helping individuals find the right job fit, but then also for organisations to do the same in terms of talent?
Yeah. The biggest, exactly. You're exactly right. The biggest thing is that it costs so much for organisations to acquire talent today. And then if people are leaving their roles so rapidly, all the roles being made redundant, it's really important that we can find people's attitudes and match them initially to the role, but also for the longevity of a career. So yes.
Yeah, great. And for you personally, Michelle, are there any other technologies or innovations that you've heard of or are starting to research as well that you're personally excited about? And either incorporating into your business or just personally interested in?
Yeah, I'm the things that I'm most motivated about is anything that will empower an individual to realize more of who they are. And so while it looks counterintuitive, there's lots of things that is happening with data science and other forms of artificial intelligence that helps people to be more productive, more fulfilled, more happy. So, you know, there's every day different things that are coming out. Most of them are in personal effectiveness apps. So mostly in those arenas.
Yeah. And can you give an example of a case study or how it's being used with a lot of that data science? Because I think for a lot of people that sounds really exciting, but, you know, in terms of how they could use it on a day-to-day basis, it may not be something that they've still completely grasped.
Yeah, so you think about all the apps and the haptics that are now in our phones and in other tools that we can utilise, allows us to track a lot of data around our sleep patterns, our breathing patterns. Some of the stuff I'm super excited about around peak performance is we're now able to track when people get down into the different states in their sleep, but also throughout the day. And we can figure out when someone's in a mindful state or not, and we can measure the nervous system of somebody doing that. And so people are strapping, devices around their body to be able to manage their heart rate and the certain nuances inside their heart rate. And so that tells us when people are burning stress energy or operating in a flow state. And when we know when people are in flow state, that's when we know we're the most productive and the most enjoy our work and improve ourselves. So that's one area where we can track that data, and then you can analyze that data and make changes to your life. And then there's many other tools that allow us to track other things to do with how we breathe, which impacts certain cognitive functions and those sorts of things. So those things give you feedback, and when we've got feedback, we can then make adjustments and changes. And when we look at what the field of coaching is all about, it's actually about getting feedback and integrating that feedback to make changes. So it's really automating a lot of things that we before would have to guess at, or we would have to rely on subjective feedback. And now we can be much more objective.
Yeah. So it sounds like it even to a point is a tool that can help understand mind, body and spirit, so to speak, or wellness, that sort of so I guess that holistic approach to how we work and how we can optimize that performance, like you said. Yeah.
And what's so exciting is that elite performance used to just be for athletes, and athletes have always had all that biofeedback. So they've always had, the incredible coaches, physical therapists, they've had, psychology, they've had so many people wrap around them. But now today, most individuals can access some of that.
Yeah. And do you see this technology impacting more industries relative to other industries, or do you think that this is something that would change the way that we work, or change the way we understand how we work across the board?
I think it's across the board because if you think about astronauts and you think about all the technology that wraps around them to be able to survive in those new arenas, as we think about the new arenas that we're all going into in the world, like soon we'll be all around working, driving around autonomous vehicles, and our workspaces will be radically different to how we currently work. So the personal effectiveness of how individuals engage in those environments is going to be universal everywhere.
Yep. And so if you could look into your crystal ball and think about 12, 18 months from now, what would you ideally see in the future of work in terms of this innovation, or the AI that you're working on?
Is that people are able to engage in their workplace and be able to, in a text-based platform, be able to have some support and feedback that allows them to communicate more effectively in work in their ideal work environment in terms of how the office is set up, to be able to make more improved and effective decisions, to be able to be more efficient, and most importantly, to have more fulfillment and well-being at work. So that's the first phase. And this next phase around the AI is to be able to have it in voice. So the first area is just being in text-based, but the second part is that through devices that are already in our life, whether it be phones or Google Home or Google Echo, but for the workplace, that we're able to be coached in teams through voice. We don't think that'll be in the next 18 months. We think it'll be further beyond that, but that's what we see in the future.
Great. And I guess finally, Michelle, because it's just obviously just a surface level scratch on the awesome stuff that you're doing already. If people wanted to get in touch with you, what would be the best way? What are the best platforms to get in touch?
You can find us on all social media, so Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn and Facebook. But to follow what we're doing at Fingerprint for Success is just to log on to our website and to sign up for our newsletter, which is F for Freddie, the number 4, S for sugar.com, F4S.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for your time and sharing your wonderful knowledge and expertise. And we look forward to seeing what else you guys create in the future.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to talk with you.
Thanks.